content here is for information purposes only. If you have any medical conditions or concerns, please see your doctor or healthcare practitioner.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to video 3 of Reinventing My World. Today, I am joined with a few people. My friend Anna has graciously consented to step in and help me out with the verbal part. My voice is still squeaky. She sounds a lot better than I do. And also is Ken and his wife, Connie. Now, Ken suffered a stroke as well. He's going to tell you about his experience, and you will note that it is different from mine. So, hello, Ken. Hi, Connie. And Ken, when did you have your stroke?
Approximately 8:30 a.m. December 8th, 2012.
That's funny because we don't have a problem remembering the time, right? And
Yeah,
how old were you?
57 years old.
Okay,
Early enough.
that's definitely early enough. Now, what caused the stroke and where was it located?
It was caused by a blood clot in the MCA, the middle cerebral artery, and on the left frontal lobe.
So somewhere in here, am I right?
The other side.
This side.
All right, that's the right.
This side.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I'm going to turn this over and let Leona ask you some questions.
So Ken, when were you given TPA?
Yes, just under 3 hours post-stroke. My symptoms did not improve following administration of TPA. The symptoms worsened the following day.
Now, for those of you that don't know, TPA or tissue plasminogen inhibitor is something that, excuse me, helps break up the clot. So hopefully the stroke, the symptoms are not that severe. But Ken, you're saying you were given the drug and the symptoms the next day were even worse.
Yeah, that's right.
That sucks. Okay. You know,
So Ken, how were you affected physically?
Paralysis on the right side with facial, like right facial droop. Had to relearn how to walk, and basic tasks such as getting dressed and feeding myself again. Still has some difficulty with swallowing, and my right side is not as strong physically.
Could you speak though, Ken? And if not, at first, how long were you affected?
I could not speak at all, had global aphasia with some comprehension difficulties. Initially, not able to read, write, identify common objects, or work with numbers. Still have trouble with word finding and math. Speaking causes fatigue. A lot of noise also makes me tired.
Yes. And how did you feel about having the stroke? Were you angry, upset, or how did it make you feel?
Was not angry when it happened because I did not know what happened and did not know what a stroke was. There was no feeling or emotion at first. At about the third week at Glenrose, I was not mad, but sad and discouraged. I would go for walks and would think, this is all that I'm going to do. This is not good.
No. And do you still feel this way, Ken?
I was discouraged when I realized that I would not be able to teach after the
neuropsychological exam
at the Glenrose. 2 years after I dealt with depression and saw a counselor at the Glenrose and also in Leduc for a few sessions. I went through a period when I did not feel like I wanted to continue living. Four years after it happened, I became quite angry. I thought I would be able to speak normally, and things were not going as I thought that it would happen. Communication is the ultimate thing, and I cannot do that. I could talk and was aware that if questions were asked of me and I was supposed to answer right away, I got nervous and couldn't talk. It is still the same today. When I feel pressure, I can't talk. After the aphasia camp in 2010, I decided that this is the way things are, and I just have to go on. I still get discouraged sometimes, just like everybody else does. I had some aspirations of singing and learning to play the piano, but I have realized that this is not going to happen.
Just on a side note, when he referred to aphasia camp, that is a camp that is put on every year by speech language pathology students from the University of Alberta. And it's a project that they've taken on. They've done it 5 or 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
The last 2 years have been on Zoom, of course, because of COVID. But before that, we met at a camp, and people with aphasia could apply to come. It's supported by the March of Dimes program. And the students do a phenomenal job. They treat you like kings and queens when you're there. It's just great. And so they plan the whole weekend. There's different things that you sign up for, different activities. And opportunities for them to tell their stories, that kind of thing. And it's been one of the best things that we've been involved in. And through that, we've gotten to know some of the professors at the university and also students. So that has drawn Ken into other programs to talk to them and help them out. And so it's just a phenomenal weekend. And it's in September, and we hope to have it back in real life this year and not on Zoom. So we're looking forward to that.
Mhm.
Okay, so many survivors speak of brain fog. How are your mental capacities affected?
Yeah. Yes, I have trouble with brain fog. I take longer to process things. I have to think through each word in order to form a sentence. I tire more easily because of the mental energy it takes. I'm easily distracted. Sounds, TV, being around people brings fatigue. I have to think about what I say. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ken, how were you emotionally?
I was very emotional at first, but not as much now. I still cry easily. I pick up on other people's emotions and body language.
Okay, that's interesting. So what type of work did you do before?
I'm a electrician. I was teaching at NAIT in electrical apprenticeship department at the time of my stroke.
And how do you feel about not being able to teach at NAIT?
uh, uh, I thought initially that I would be back teaching right away, but now I know that is not possible. It was my dream job, and I enjoyed it immensely. It makes me sad when I think about it.
Yes, no doubt. What helped you get through this?
My wife was the key help, and other family members, especially my daughters and grandkids. This was at the beginning and still is to this day.
Mhm. Family support's important. Do you
Yeah.
work now, and what type of work do you do?
I work in part-time the last 2 years in a warehouse at Canadian Tire, picking orders in some automotive department. I'm not able to go back to teaching, but still am able to do some electrical work. The work is different because of the stroke, because of aphasia and slower thought process things speed.
Okay. So what is and are the major things that you miss after this?
Um, Talking to my family, my wife and girls and grandkids, and uh, that's a major thing of the mess. And friends, not able to relate and converse as before. Things get left unsaid. Being able to sing. I used to be in quartets, sing solos, and led worship in their church. I also led a lot of small groups, you know.
Okay, so it's a lot of loss. Did you have rehab, where and how long?
First of all, I had the treatment at the University of Alberta Hospital the month of December, transferred to the Leduc Hospital over Christmas, transferred to Glenrose Hospital Christmas till February 7th. Outpatient speech therapy, 1 year and 9 months. I was constraint induced aphasia treatment at Glenrose every morning for 3 weeks. June 2014, and speech therapy Toastmasters group at the University of Alberta, run by the SLP students for 3 months, once a week in 2016 and 2018. And I'm on a chat group online, meeting weekly on Wednesdays for an hour since May 2020.
I've got a question. I'm not familiar with constraint-induced aphasia treatment. Can you kind of expand on that, or Connie, if you need to jump in?
Yeah.
Well, it's a program where they are not allowed to use any other helps, like in communication, other than words. So gestures or different things that we normally do in trying to get our point across. So it was to force them to, as aphasia patients, to be able to come up with the words that they needed to communicate. And I think it really made a big difference in Ken's improvement.
Okay, interesting. Ken, can you give us any advice on dealing with stroke survivors, both you and Connie?
Okay, don't get upset with the survivors' questions when they are trying to understand or comprehend what you mean or what you want. Be patient, take time, talk slow, minimize distractions. Noisy restaurants and church foyers are a challenge. Remember, as a caregiver, that you need to find to take care of yourself and get away from the situation once in a while. Find someone you can talk to. And I tell stories, my story and what I've been able to accomplish. Have done this as a volunteer visitor in the stroke unit at the Grey Nuns Hospital before COVID. Try to stay positive. There is hope, and there is always room for improvement. Don't give up. It takes time to adjust and accept the fact that a stroke happened. Things will get better over time.
Thank you. And Connie, can you please tell us how the stroke affected you as a caregiver?
I guess initially when I saw Ken have the stroke, I knew what was happening because my grandmother had had a stroke when I was just after high school. So I'd seen it firsthand. Like he said, he didn't have any idea what was happening, but I knew that it was serious and it was going to be something that we would have to deal with for a long time. So that was hard. And the first night I stayed with him in Emerge, and we didn't know if he was going to pull through. And the symptoms got worse with the brain swelling the second day. So that was hard. And of course, when it happens, you have no idea how the outcome is going to be. So I had no idea whether he was ever going to be able to speak anything again, because he couldn't speak a word for quite a while at first. And so it's the unknowns that are the hard part. And then as a couple, we've done many things together. We've always done things together since we got married. So we would be involved in leading groups, and we were together with victim services, and just that was just our life. We led lots of youth groups and young adult groups. And so when that couldn't happen, it just made a huge change to our activities and what we were able to do. And then of course, with him not being able to communicate, I had to take over everything with, well, what do you do in life? Our finances, our, even contact with people just generally. He couldn't do any of that. And so it made it, there's been a lot of adjustments, I guess. But like he said, our family has been very supportive. Once he was able to converse some, then Ken was always in the habit of contacting his mom by phone. And so he started that up again and would phone her every day. And it was great because she had so much patience and time. And it was just a big part, I think, of him being able to speak more again and to be able to do it over a phone, which is not easy anyway in communication. And so that was a big help as well. And I took a caregiver's course through the Glenrose with my daughter a few months after the stroke happened. And it was very good as far as giving information about a stroke and what happens and kind of what to expect with the different types of strokes that go on. And I remember them saying in that course that it makes a big difference what you've put into your brain before a stroke as to how you will be afterwards. And I believe that is true because Ken has always been a very positive person and optimist. And I think that is what's helped him after the stroke to continue going and be persistent and keep trying. And there's more and more research that's proving the neuroplasticity in the brain and being able to get some of the stuff back that you never, like years ago, they thought once you had a stroke, that was it and there was no hope. But now they're saying that if with practice and perseverance, you can rebuild those neural pathways to get back some of the things that you've lost. So I've seen that happen with him, with Ken being able to keep trying, and he's certainly different than when the stroke first happened. And then it's been just a real encouragement, friends and family that have prayed for us and keep doing so and support us. And that's been a real blessing. And that's made a huge difference as well. And then we were talking before about just the Ken as a person himself. I believe that the essence of who he was before the stroke is still there, even though he's different in a lot of ways, but just the person of who he was before, his compassion for others and his faith and all those angles are still there, which is neat to see. And I know, especially the students at the university keep commenting whenever he's so willing to help them out with any project that they have. And they're very thankful for that, and just the way that he contributes in that way.
You know, Ken, you're awesome. Like, I just love your attitude. You talk about don't give up. That's one thing I can agree with 100%. And staying positive. Absolutely. If you start to moan and grind and complain, guess what? You ain't going nowhere. So, not that we don't have our down days, we do. But the main difference probably is that we don't play in the mud for that an extended period of time. We just get back up on the horse and keep on going, right? So I really want to thank both of you very much for coming. Now, I remember something in a conversation we had before when we were waiting to do this. And Connie, you can pitch in whenever. When you were learning to read, you were using your grandchild's books, right? I mean, to most people, they'd say, what? But you had to teach your brain all over again. And that's important. And you mentioned telling people to be patient when you ask questions. Totally agree with that one. Now, I'll even go one step further, and you can tell me if you agree. Please don't assume, like for someone else, that you know what, or that they know, excuse me, what you are trying to say. Like, I mean, I get that a lot too, and then I finally say, "Stop! You're not listening to me." And then all of a sudden, this look on their face, and they zip, and then they allow you to speak. So, if the one thing I would add onto it is give the person a chance. Right? Am I right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Well, thank you again. I've totally enjoyed talking to you. And what you've done for me, you've shown to me that all stroke patients are different. I'd heard this before, but you kind of reinforced and brought it home to me. So thank you for that. And that concludes video 3 of Reinventing My World. And if you want more information, check out my book, Reinventing My World, Life After Stroke. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.